It's a pleasure, Mr. Johansson, that we take the time to talk with us. We would love to hear your perspective of the current medical innovation at the time of pandemic.
In this globalized area, it has become commonplace to talk up the latest headline, 24-hour news story, or social media storm as of global significance. Almost every day we are told events will change our way of living, alter how we look at society, and reshape how we conduct our business. More often than not, this is short-lived, as our ever-changing priorities rapidly shift our attention from one event to the next. COVID-19 is different. This terrible pandemic is a truly global emergency with over 12 million confirmed cases. It's a global shock which has deeply impacted millions of people, shaken our perceptions of how we are equipped to deal with global health crisis, and which will and should have profound implications for the future. It is vital that we learn from this crisis, and that's what I want to talk about today. I would like to focus on three themes. Firstly, the vital role of business in dealing with global crisis. Secondly, the importance of innovation and sustainability. And thirdly, that we need to build back stronger, which means capitalizing on the transformative potential of digital health. Firstly, the role of business. The responsibility corporations have to society has always been there, but it has become far clearer through COVID-19. As a global science-led biopharmaceutical company headquartered in the UK, AstraZeneca is proud to have played a key role. Our response has included emergency relief, including our donations of 9 million masks in partnership with the World Economic Forum, COVID Action Platform, and the WHO. We have worked with diagnostics, including the new testing facility in Cambridge in partnership with GSK and the University of Cambridge. We have worked on treatment for COVID-19 virus. It's important to understand that we are at the very earliest stages here, and medicines need to be approved before they can be widely used. But we are seeing some promise with two of our medicines. One medicine we hope will help patients not need ventilation by moderating the immune response in the lungs. That would help take pressure off strained ICU resources. And then, of course, we have worked with our vaccine program. Through our collaboration with Oxford University, we have made a joint commitment to broad and equitable access. Our ambition is to deliver a vaccine to stem the COVID-19 pandemic. This is part of our commitment to meet an urgent global public health need and support healthcare systems and economies to recover. Through our partnerships, we have now secured global supply capacity to exceed 2 billion doses and are continuing to build a number of supply chains in parallel across the world in order to meet our commitment to support global access to the vaccine at no profit during the pandemic. We expect an initial amount of doses to be delivered by the end of this year, with the remaining by the end of the second half of 2021. This response is all part of our commitment to meet an urgent global public health need and support healthcare systems and economies to recover. We are proud of the role we are playing, and that takes me to my second point, that COVID-19 has shown again the importance of innovation and sustainability to drive long-term change. By putting values at the heart of our purpose, companies including AstraZeneca can deliver benefits for society and the planet as well as for our shareholders. Looking beyond COVID-19, such a contribution can be made through fierce innovation. In life sciences, scientific innovation can accelerate new modalities and therapeutics with the potential to address the most significant diseases and areas of patient unmet need across the world. And then, of course, through environmental protection and a commitment to address climate change. Corporations have a responsibility and opportunity to be a powerful and progressive force. For example, AstraZeneca has pledged to be carbon zero by 2025 and carbon negative across our value chain by 2030. All key actors must come together to drive an environmentally sustainable economic model to deliver global health. This means taking integrated action to protect and support people and the planet, including by working with local communities. Building back stronger through COVID will require us to learn the difficult lessons of this pandemic and seize the opportunity for the future. That takes me to my third and final point, the opportunity of digital in the new normal. The digital revolution presents an enormous opportunity to transform our lives, improve patient health outcomes, save costs, and improve healthcare system inefficiencies. By embracing the full potential of technology, data, and artificial intelligence in the right way, we have a huge potential to change how we live and thrive. Data is already transforming and accelerating the way we discover and develop new medicines and will change the face of how healthcare is delivered everywhere around the world.
Thank you very much, Mr. Johansson. With your permission, to follow up on this inspiring speech, we have several follow-up questions. First of all, you mentioned, and certainly it's a promise for the world, that by the end of this year we can expect a vaccine. But we wonder a little bit about the dynamic. We know the long regulatory process it takes to develop a drug. How do you see the regulators becoming more flexible or more, I think, tolerant to accelerating development processes at this time?
I actually don't think that regulators should be or will be more tolerating when it comes to safety or side effects. The real big difference between most time assessments on vaccine is that we have such a prevalence of disease in many, many countries. And that means that we can do very large scale clinical testing before too long a time. And therefore you can say we can do it quicker. So I think that's really the most important difference compared to other time spans.
And Mr. Johansson, assuming that so many drug companies are at the same time racing to find a vaccine, do you see here a dynamic which is different than the normal dynamic in pharmaceutical, where we wouldn't have the winner takes it all effect, but rather many companies sharing the market for foreseeable time?
Yeah, I think this is probably a situation where you can see the pharmaceutical industry in general, AstraZeneca included, doing what we should be doing in a time of crisis. We are frankly just trying to help out. We do this right now during the course of the pandemic at cost for AstraZeneca. And I think this is a little like I said in the beginning of my speech, this is the role of responsible corporations to help out in a crisis. Obviously, over time, we will then have to develop a business. But I think in times of crisis, everything in society, corporations, government, academia, have to come together to try to help out.
In Israel, we organize our data, so we have actually a national data set, both synthesized data, but also a large collection of data set available for pharmaceutical companies or digital health innovation. How do you see the role of these data repositories play in the current innovation landscape? Because I know that you chose Israel for your innovation. How important is the data set in this innovation landscape?
Well, you know, Israel is very close to Sweden, my home country, in the sense that we have very good data, individual data, and data with very high integrity. And obviously, that can be used for a number of purposes. It can be used actually to find the right molecules, which is to develop medicines, you can say, versus, for example, a genetic data bank that we could have. So already in R&D, it would be very good data to have. Then when we come into clinical trials, it's obvious that it's quite a resource to be able to use for testing drugs and molecules. But perhaps even more important, as I see the healthcare sector developing, we can actually give better patient care, more individualized, personalized care to patients if we can use data in an efficient way. And then over time, that spreads actually into a much more innovative healthcare systems. I gave a few examples of that, where we can use data in such a way that we can give better quality care for patients, while at the same time reducing the total system cost for a country in delivering good health care. So I think I'm aware of the debate in Israel, like in many other countries, that we should not in any way misuse data or not have people trust the way the system, pharmaceutical companies inclusive, use data. But I think if we can take one step off that position and say, let's look at what we can do with data in a positive and constructive way, then I think we have much more innovation to be able to do.
Well, that's inspiring. Thank you very much, Mr. Johansson, both for your inspiring speech and really comforting and promising words for the landscape of innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good to be with you.